You're listening to me right now. Good. That means the protocol worked. The file was found, the chain of custody was followed, and a detective, let's call him Detective Paulson, did exactly what I knew he would. He couldn't resist. He had to listen. But you're not Paulson, are you? You're the one who found this after he went missing. Or maybe you're the archivist, the cold case blogger, the curious soul who stumbled onto a file that was supposed to be buried. It doesn't matter. You're here now. And for the next few minutes, you are my audience. Don't skip ahead. I'll know, you see, the police have it all wrong. They think I'm a creature of impulse. A monster who strikes in the dark. They tell the public to check their locks, to keep their lights on. They think the fear is in the unknown. But true fear, the kind that lives in your bones for the rest of your life, is in the known. It's in the moment you realize you've already lost. I'm going to tell you about the night I visited the Kaplan residence. 442 Maple Street. You can look it up later. I've been watching that house for 3 months. I knew everything. I knew Mr. Kaplan left for his shift at the chemical plant at precisely 10:47 p.m. I knew Mrs. Kaplan would be asleep by 11:15, her sleep apnea machine humming a low, mechanical rhythm, and I knew about their daughter, Lily. 8 years old. She had a nightlight shaped like a smiling crescent moon. She was afraid of the dark, you see. She would lie awake, counting the slivers of light that slipped through her blinds until the fear became too heavy and she'd eventually, mercifully, drift off. Getting in is never the trick. It's the anticipation. I stood in the hallway between the master bedroom and Lily's room for what felt like an hour. I didn't move. I just listened to the two rhythms, the mechanical wheeze of the mother's machine, and the shallow, fitful breaths of the child. I made a choice that night. Not just to take, but to leave something. I went into Lily's room first. She was awake. Her eyes were wide, reflecting the pale blue light of that stupid crescent moon. She saw me. A shape in the doorway. She didn't scream. Children rarely do when it's truly real. The scream is for when they imagine the monster. When the monster is there, they freeze. It's a biological marvel. I walked to her bed. I leaned down until my lips were almost touching her ear. I didn't touch her. I simply whispered, "Don't make a sound." And she didn't. She was so brave. Her little hands were balled into fists, white-knuckled, clutching her blanket. I pulled up a chair and I sat beside her bed. I told her a story. A soft, quiet story about a little girl who was very, very quiet. For 45 minutes, I sat there, telling her that story. Her eyes never left mine. She was locked in. When I finished, I stood up. I walked to her closet, opened the door, and stepped inside. I left the door open a crack. A sliver of darkness in the blue light. I whispered from the closet, "Now. Go get mommy." That was the moment. Her brain, her survival instinct, finally kicked in. The freeze broke. She scrambled out of bed with a squeak of terror and ran. I heard her little feet slap against the hardwood floor. I heard the master bedroom door swing open. I heard her voice, high and trembling, "Mommy. Mommy, there's a man." Then, the mechanical wheeze of the machine stopped. I heard Mrs. Kaplan gasp, a rustle of sheets. Her voice, thick with sleep, "Lily. What is it, baby?" I stepped out of the closet. I walked down the hallway, my footsteps deliberate and unhurried. I stood in the doorway of the master bedroom. The moonlight from the window illuminated the scene perfectly. Mrs. Kaplan was sitting up in bed, clutching Lily to her chest. Her eyes were on me. I saw the calculation happening. The phone on the nightstand. The baseball bat her husband kept by the dresser. All the things she would never reach in time, but here's the part you need to understand. The part that will keep you awake tonight. I didn't move. I just stood there. I tilted my head, the way you do when you're looking at something curious. And I looked past her. I looked at the window behind the bed, and I said, "Mrs. Kaplan, you're not alone in this room." Her eyes darted behind her, a reflexive, primal jerk. For 1 second, one single, beautiful second, she took her eyes off me. She turned her head to look at the window, to see who else was there. There was no one. But in that second, her arms loosened around Lily. Her focus shattered. She became two people, a woman looking at a window and a mother holding a child. And in that fracture of attention, I was gone. I didn't hurt them. Not physically. The police will find them tomorrow, hysterical but alive. They'll call me a coward. A failed predator. They're wrong. I left them with something worse than death. I left Mrs. Kaplan with a question she will ask herself for the rest of her life. Who did she think was at the window? She will never fully trust her own eyes again. Every shadow in her peripheral vision will be a threat. Every time she holds her daughter, a part of her brain will remember that moment she let go. And Lily will never feel safe in a dark room again. Not just tonight. Not just this year. Forever. I have taken root inside her. I am the face in the dark of her closet. I am the whisper in her ear on quiet nights. I am the reason she will triple-check her locks and sleep with a light on until she is an old woman. I am her permanent, unshakable resident, which brings me to you. Detective Paulson is currently indisposed. But you, the listener, the one who found this file. You're the one who matters now, because you're listening to this in a room. Maybe your home. Maybe your car. Maybe your office, late at night when everyone else has gone home. You're comfortable. You're in your space. You think the fear is contained to this audio file, to the story I'm telling, but I have a question for you, listener. Something to think about long after this tape ends. When I was in the Kaplan house, I had been watching it for 3 months. I knew their schedules, their fears, their weaknesses. I knew the sound of their locks. I knew the layout of their rooms. So tell me, how long do you think I've been watching you? Don't check your closet. Don't look behind you. Just listen to the silence of your own home and ask yourself if it feels occupied. I know your name. I know your face. I know the sound of your breathing when you think you're alone, and now you know mine. See you soon.